On Friday the 17th of May, the Years 4 and 5 students went to St. Helena Island for their first excursion. We travelled to Manly to the William Gunn Jetty to board the Caddo Nine Tails, a ferry that took us onto the island.
We were met by prisoner 31 and 86 and their water haul. There were prisoners from the island who were going to be our tour guides for the day. We travelled on the inside of the boat all the way to the island. When we reached St. Helena, we stopped for morning tea. On the way, a few of us felt really seasick, but luckily no one vomited.
We lined up in two lines and learned about the heritage of the island. The indigenous people of Australia called the island Nagoon. It was later called Green Island too by Matthew Flinders. Even later on it was named St. Helena after them. Napoleon had travelled to another St. Helena Island in Africa.
Two lines up to the Pennell settlement on the island pretending to be prisoners. Real prisoners walked in leg irons. When we arrived at the settlement, we broke into two groups and split up to explore the island. St. Helena Island was opened in 1867. The first area we saw was the exercise yard. All prisoners were allowed 2 hours each day in the exercise yard. We then saw the cells the prisoners stayed in. There were 12 prisoners kept in one cell and only one bucket for all of them to use as a toilet. They slept in hammocks all on the top of each other. Each morning it was someone's job to empty the bucket into the cesspit.
After the prison, we saw the bakery and the butcher's building. The workers of these buildings had a special cell next to the butcher's. Every morning, every day, prisoners were served hominy porridge, which apparently tastes like soggy cardboard. Next to the bakery, there was a well that was used for water for both the butcher's and the bakery. We got to look into it. It was so deep that if we could only just see the bottom. We saw the superintendent's house, which has now been converted to the St. Helena Island Museum. In this house we saw all sorts of tools and artifacts from colonial times. We were even told a story about the superintendent having a jar of fingers on his desk as evidence of prisoners cutting them off to get out of hard work. There is also a model of the island in the master bedroom of what the entire island would have looked like back in 1867.
Onto the cannon. The cannon on the island was used to signal police back in Brisbane for problems on the island. The cannon was donated to the island. It never shot cannonballs. It was just packed full of gunpowder to make the loudest bang possible. We then got to see the fountain that used to be in the superintendent's garden. It was powered by prisoners riding a bicycle.
Afterwards, we were given a demonstration of punishments that were dealt out during colonial times. Did you know that prisoners were given things such as sugar, jam, tobacco, and soap rewards for good behavior? They were taken away when they did the wrong thing. If they did the wrong thing, prisoners had no dinner. The most harmful punishment was the use of the cow of 9 tails, a whip with 9 tails on the end of it. The prisoners did some slow motion shots of the whipping so we could film it to see what really happened.
For a whole week. So if you took my tea, I'd have nothing to drink but hot water. You wait till it gets cold, but yeah, water. Yeah. Also, 86.
Yes, sir.
How would it affect you if I took away your sugar or your salt for a week?
I'd have nothing for my hominy porridge, sir, or my mutton slop stew. My delicious,
Nutritious.
wonderful
Every day.
mutton.
Stew. Where do you work, 31? In the leather workshop, sir. So, your hands get quite greasy. Oh, filthy greasy, sir. What about after a shift? Oh, even worse after a shift. So if I took away your soap from me for a week, how would you wash your hands? Well, like this, sir. I wouldn't do that. Oh, they're worse. No. As you were walking around the stockade, you never saw a shower block. There is no shower block here. There are no showers here. No, the prisoners get bathed on a Saturday afternoon, once a week. First thing a prisoner does is take off their clothes. The prisoners are strapped to the frame up there. Now on St. Helena, we're allowed to sentence you to a maximum of 50 lashings, but not all in the one spot. The first 25, back of the neck to the base of the spine, that area there. If the sentence is any more than 25 lashings, the extra lashings are done on what's called the breech, the base of the spine. I didn't ask you. Right. And begin.
After punishments, we walked for a bit to see the old sugar mill that is located on the island. The sugar mill was used to process sugar cane into sugar to sell for profit. We were told stories of how prisoners used their blades to cut off their fingers to get out of doing hard work. Apparently the soldiers had to find the fingers to prove that it actually happened.
After the sugar mill, we visited the 2 graveyards on the island. One graveyard was for the children. The other graveyard was for prisoners. In the prisoners' graveyard, all the tombstones had numbers on them. However, in the children's graveyard, all the tombstones had names and the reason why they died.
We then made our way back to the jetty to hop on the ferry to come home. On the way home, we got to go on the top of the ferry. It was so cold and very windy. The sea was bumpy, and we were all very glad to have made it to dry soil land.